Well, hey, welcome to Lakeway. If we haven't met yet, my name's Daniel. I hope you're able to find a seat tonight. We're so thankful that you are with us. I know we got a lot of first-timers, a lot of guests in the house tonight. We're just grateful that you're with us. Want to catch you up to speed where we've been the past couple of weeks and where we're at this week and where we'll be next week as well. We at Lakeway believe that to reach the people that no one is reaching, we've got to do the things that no one is doing. And so what that means is that I have a conviction as your pastor that I should not just stand up here and preach the Bible to you for 30 minutes and then send you on the way home. But some of the best Bible teachers, some of the best real-life application people that we have are sitting next to you. And so this series that we've been in the past couple of weeks and we're in tonight is called The Gospel According to. And what we've been doing is, instead of a traditional message, sermon, we've been interviewing you and talking about how to live out your faith in your workplace. And so today, I know we have a lot of different demographics. We have some of our college students. We have younger than college students. We have young adults that are unemployed, young adults that are underemployed. We have people in the prime of their career. We have retired folks. We're all over the spectrum. But I hope and I know that tonight, if you allow God to speak, He's going to speak into your situation, to how He can use your career, your platform for His glory. And to help us along that conversation, we have an incredible guest with us tonight who many of you know and love dearly, Farrah Spears. That's not your cue. I told her to come up when you started clapping, but that was impromptu. So Farrah hails from the little town of Brady, Texas, just slightly larger than Pineland that we talked about, in between, Austin and in the middle of nowhere at another map dot. She graduated from Brady High School in 1998, came off to Texas A&M, where she was a class of 1998. She, like me, studied communication, which means this may be a long interview. But Farrah then launched into her career. She went into TV, working as a station manager for Fox 28, and then also sometime in there owned a little store called The Bath Junkie. Then in 2008, she entered into the real estate world with Century 21 Beal, where she is now a realtor. And as we talked about, as we were kind of putting together this message series, we began to ask, hey, who in our community should we talk to? And I think it was Zach, he said, Farrah, and the response was just duh, right? For a lot of reasons, for who she is, but also because I love that in this community, I think we're mostly made up of teachers, but I think a close second is realtor. I'm thinking Michelle and Lexi and Bridget and and Tracy and tons of realtors. And so Farrah is a realtor in town. I had to write down all of the accolades. I didn't get them all. She has got multiple Masters Diamond Awards, Masters Emerald Awards, a Centurion Producer Award. That just sounds awesome. I don't know what that is. She is a member of the Rising Professional Network, and she is currently ranked the number 32 Century 21 agent in all of Texas in AGC, which I can only guess means Awesome Girl Club. More than all of that, when the doors are open at this church, Farrah is here. She has been with us at Lakeway since day one. She is a member of our Children's Council. She is the Children's Lay Leader. She also serves on the Committee on Lay Leadership, and she is a beloved member of, I don't want to say cult, of the small group, the Turtles. So where are my turtles at? If you saw a bunch of people in orange and you thought you didn't get the message, that is Farrah's small group, the par excellence of small groups at Christ United Methodist Church. We're so proud of them. Farrah is married to Michael. They have two children, Zoe and Hunter, and we are so blessed to have her with us tonight. Would you join me in welcoming Farrah Spears? You already got 2 rounds of applause. Is your head just...
cover all this hair.
All right, Farrah, most important question. You know it's coming. Who is the most famous person in your cell phone?
Well, this isn't going to go as good as I thought it was going to, because I was going to say one of the lead singers of the band Homer, Zach Castillo.
That's good. Zach is in Nashville this evening, but he does have a band called Homer. Check them out. You're welcome, Zach. That's a lot of free streams for you.
But I guess I would also have to say one of my dear friends from college, her name is Heather Scholl, and the first claim to fame was she was on this funny reality TV show called like High School Reunion or something. And but more importantly than that, she actually started with Marcus Luttrell, who y'all probably know who that is, the lone survivor. His wife, they started something called the Boot Campaign. And if any of y'all saw the picture that Daniel put on Instagram of me and like my real estate clothes, and then I had on combat boots, that is what they do with the boot campaign. And they have raised, since they started, over $12 million for soldiers' families and stuff like that. So she's kind of a superstar to me because she's done all this for all the soldiers out there, and she's been on every newscast and all that. So to me, that's pretty cool.
That's a good answer. I like that. All right, superpower, anyone in the world. What are you picking?
This is a good one. So I was talking to the kids about this, and immediately Zoe said, Mommy, it's so simple. Clone yourself. She was like, then think about how much more stuff you can do.
Can the world handle more than one Farrah Spears?
I see my family all shaking their heads
plenty.
no. But yeah, I think that person the person that I would clone would be me, so that she could sleep, and then the other one could go to work, and then the other one would sleep, and the other one would go to work and teach Bible studies and all that. So
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Again, I don't think the world can handle that, but
I
I
don't think so
like
either.
the effort.
That's why I don't drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee.
No,
We got to
could you
start there.
imagine?
You don't drink coffee.
Couldn't anyone that knows me well imagine me on coffee? Thank you.
So no caffeine?
No.
How many hours a night are you sleeping?
5 to 6.
Bless you. So, Farrah, talk to us a little bit about your transition. My guess is that coming out of college, you were thinking kind of news was going to be your realm.
I just didn't want to be in an office. I
Okay.
just wanted to talk to people and not just sit around all the time in an office. That's just not me.
So talk about the transition that went from news to store owner to realtor.
Right. So I've always wanted to do something where I could be around people and to talk, because I love to talk, and not just do the same old every single day. So I went into TV sales right out of A&M and basically forced them to give me a job. They weren't hiring, and I think they finally decided either she's going to be good or she's a psychopath. So
Good lesson for our college students.
that's right.
It's good to be a little crazy.
Don't give up, right? So they finally just gave me a phone book and stuck me in a conference room and said, here, just call random people. And I did. And within 3 years, I was actually the station manager. So I guess I wasn't that crazy, a little bit. But so then that was corporate America, though. And so I still had a lot of freedom, but yet I still had to, like take vacation days and sick days and stuff like that. So then Michael and I decided that we wanted to do a franchise. And so we started Bath Junkie, and which was custom blended bath products. You can make your own scent and your own color, and it was really cool. And so that was the next really neat thing. And that was just so phenomenal because I got to meet so many amazing girls that I'm still close to. In fact, one of them helped me raise my daughter, and her husband is actually here tonight. He was doing some work at A&M today, and so he texted and said he was in town. So I said, you got to come listen to me talk about how amazing your wife is. And so I got to really have great relationships with all those girls and got really close to them and minister to them. Michael and I were like their parents. They literally lived at our houses. And so that was really neat, but it's owning your own business. And for those of you that have owned your own business before or currently do, you know how exhausting it is, right, Michelle? And so while I was on quote, maternity leave, I don't ever really do maternity leave, but while I was home more than not with Hunter Man, I had always wanted to do real estate. In fact, I went and talked to my broker as soon as I graduated from A&M, and I found out you had to do more classes in person. And I was done with school. I was like, no, I'm not going to do school anymore. I did that, done. Well, then my brother-in-law was getting his real estate license. He's like, Farrah, you can do it online now. And I was like, what? So while I was sitting home and Hunter was napping, I got my real estate license in like 8 weeks and started doing that, loved it, was doing it part-time while we had Bath Junkie, which was so fun, but then the recession hit, and people are not going to pay $20 for a bottle of lotion when they can't pay their utility bill. Wow. So it came time for us to renew our lease, and I was like, I think that we could be okay if I did real estate full-time, and we didn't have to sign a guarantee for a $4,000 a month rent for 5 years. So
that's crazy. So it wasn't, it just kind of fell into your lap, right? Recession hits, you say, hey, this might be the next move. And
yes, but I will tell you that God completely told me to do it because Michael can vouch for this, for I don't know how many months. He was like, Farrah, we're losing money, and we can't keep doing this. And I was like, I can make anything happen because Farrah doesn't give up. And he was like...
Do you talk about yourself in third person often?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, I call myself Miss Farrah all the time, don't I, Wesley? And so he was like, Farrah, if anybody could make it successful, it would have been you, but you can't control the economy. Yeah. And so, but I was like, I got all these girls, and they need jobs. And he was like, they're college kids. They can probably find another part-time job. It'll be okay. So I sat down and I opened my Bible, and literally the first word I opened to said, the writing is on the wall. And so, because I would talk to God before it, and I was like, you know me, and you know I don't quit at anything. And I was like, so, but if you tell me to quit, I'll quit. And I won't keep doing this, and I'll do something else. And so I opened the Bible, and it said the writing is on the wall. And I was like, okay. So the next day I told the girls, I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to close down the store. I'm going to do real estate full time. And the rest is history.
The rest is history. So you go in, you start selling homes full time. When I asked this question to premarital counseling sessions to couples, I say, you're dating, you're together, but when did you know? When did you look into each other's eyes and say, wow, there's that sparkle, this is the one? When did you know that real estate was the one for you?
Well, it's been in my blood my whole life. My dad did building, my brother did building, my sister sells real estate as well. So it's kind of in our blood anyway. But to me, real estate is the best of all worlds because I am my own boss. I don't have to take sick days or vacation days.
You would anyways.
Yeah, right, it's true. But the nice part about it, though, is I don't have all that overhead that you have, those of you that own businesses know, and all the employee stuff. So it's really the best of all worlds, and being able to actually be with people and help them in something that's one of the biggest things they do in their entire life, which is their home, where they're going to spend most of their time with their family, worshiping, making memories, having birthday parties, all that stuff. And so to be able to do that, it just lit, a fire in me that I was going to be able to help people and be a part of that.
Is that the best part of your job?
Absolutely. I love it.
Talk about that some.
So the greatest thing about my job is kind of just going through these steps with people, because it's a huge deal when you buy a house, right? Like, that's where all your memories are made, the good ones, the bad ones, everything. And to be able to go alongside people while they do that is like literally one of the greatest blessings. And I always tell them, after the fact, I'm like, now you're not going to think I'm some crazy stalker if I show back up later and want to hang out with you or something, because I really, when I'm negotiating with other realtors, I will say our offer, our house, we got this house, and because to me, it really is ours, and I will not ever let somebody buy something that if I was in their position that I wouldn't buy. And so it's just really, really cool to be able to do that, because it's a very emotional thing, right? Buying a house is a huge thing. So you're either buying your first house because, you've just gotten married and you're starting your life, or you're buying that next house because now you have a family, and that house that you had that was that 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and you had to put the potty chair out in the hallway, right, Michael? And you're like, okay, we need a bigger house. That's emotional and exciting to be a part of. And then there's also parts of it that are really sad. Like, sometimes people are moving because they've lost their job and they're having to move far away from all their family and friends, or their child has just graduated and is moving off to college, and they're buying something somewhere else for their child to go and not live near them, which some of us will be doing very soon.
Zoe smiles really big right
Zoe
now.
can't wait.
She's smiling ear to ear.
Meanwhile, I'm in a corner rocking somewhere, and she's only going to be like 6 miles away, but still I'm rocking. Or someone has gone through a divorce, or they've lost a loved one, or they're selling the house that they grew up in. And mom or dad has passed away, and the other one is now having to go to an assisted living, and that was their home that they grew up in. And that's hard. And so I like to be able to help people with that part. And I always joke and say my minor in psychology came in really handy, because you really do a lot of times kind of feel like you're a little bit of a therapist with people, walking them through, that stage of life, and, really helping when it's sometimes exciting and sad and happy and hard.
Was there a moment that light bulb went off in you, that you realized that it was a ministry? Because when I think real estate, and I love watching the market just for fun.
Right.
You could do real estate all on paper, right? And,
yeah.
and on Zillow, and write up contracts.
Oh,
and say,
God, don't say that word, right, ladies?
We don't say Zillow?
Your stomach's all just turned, didn't it?
Okay, I apologize. I also know that you're always supposed to look at the tax value, and that's the proper value of the home, right? Is that
wrong again?
I'm going to get something thrown at me.
Move forward.
But when did you have a moment that you maybe ministered to a family and you just realized, wow, this is so much more than buying and selling homes?
Right. So I've got 2 stories, because I never just have one. Don't worry, we'll get out on time. Daniel will take the mic. But one family, first I'll just give a general story, and then I'll give a family. So a lot of times when there have been some markets where we've had houses sometimes that are getting 5 or 6 offers on them, and I'll have first-time home buyers, and they can't pay $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over what the house is, and they'll be so upset because maybe we've written offers on 4 or 5 houses, and they're just like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? This was our dream house. We saw ourselves there, and we saw our kids growing up there, And I've told them, I'm like, guys, I swear to you, every single time that you feel like it's not going to work out, it ends up working out. And you end up getting the perfect house for you. And that just reminds me how many times in our lives, right, when things are going bad and we're like, God, I do not understand why this is happening in my life. I do not get it. Why? And he's sitting back there going, just chill out. It's going to work out, I promise. And then later, maybe years later, you go, oh, that's why. And so I actually say that a lot to clients. And I do not have a problem at all talking about my faith to my clients. And I feel like if they have a problem with it, then maybe I don't want to help them if they have a problem with me talking about how much I love Jesus. So, and then one story that I have that's phenomenal. Some of the turtles.
Hold on.
Whoop. Pause.
That is a Christian worldview. We talk a lot about what that means, seeing the world through the lens of Jesus. I think so often we say, if I'm going to put career first, and I'm going to keep my faith kind of cornered at the back. Whereas Farrah just said she will lose a sale if someone's not comfortable talking about Jesus. That's a challenge for all of us to say that's the standard by which we are called to. Continue.
Play. Okay, turn her back on. Okay, so I did this story. I was phenomenal. The turtles know this story, but I had a client that very faithful, and we talk about this all the time. And so we had our house up for sale, and we got an offer very early on, and then it didn't end up working out. And she told me, she was like, Farrah, I really think that this is going to be okay. And she's like, 'cause I had this dream. And I was like, really? And she has dreams like this sometimes. She calls them dreams, and it's totally God talking to her. But she said, God said, don't worry about it. So the person that's going to buy your house is in ministry. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so then we get another offer on the house, and we start going along, and it doesn't work out, and it falls through. And so then she was like, oh, this is getting frustrating. And I was like, I know, but it'll be fine. It always works out. He always makes it happen when it's supposed to, just like life. And then I got a call from this agent. She's like, hey, I need to talk to you. We want to place an offer, but it's probably not as high as what you want. And your clients probably won't even talk to me because it's pretty low. And I was like, hey, let's talk, And she said, well, it's a unique situation. She's like, he's in the ministry. And I was like, I had to put my poker face on so that I didn't, I was like, that's great. Tell me more, And so we talked and everything. And so they said they were talking about this ministry and stuff that they were going to bring to College Station. And so I called my client and told her. And then we got the offer, and y'all, it was really low. Like, really, really, really low. And my client and I started talking about it, and she was like, we were going to tithe a portion, the 10% of our sale of our house to our church. And they're like, but they're wanting to start a ministry, and that exact 10% that they were going to tithe was the amount below what it was going to be, right? And so they said, so instead of us tithing to our church, we'll just take that off, and in our minds, that's the tithe, right? And so that family now has that house and has a ministry.
That's incredible.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's
really
how God
cool.
works.
Wow. And you get to see all that.
And I get to see it all. And it just justifies everything I already know, but then I can go out and tell other people about it.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about this privately, but, there's, especially just in real estate, there's seasons, right? That spring break's a big time. You're going to be showing a lot of houses.
Yeah.
Spring break.
Starting now until, September.
So there's kind of natural ebbs and
Yes.
flows in the market itself. But maybe talk about a difficult season in your career. Maybe when you weren't selling or you were struggling with, is this my calling? Is this what I'm made to do? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So pretty early on in my career, we still had a lot of debt from the whole bath junkie thing. And the thing that a lot of you maybe don't know, and all my realtor friends know this, but typically, and you've all bought houses, maybe it's been a while for some of you, but it usually takes 30 to 45 days to close on a house after you find the house you want. So in real estate, I don't get a paycheck until a house closes. So even if I have something under contract, that doesn't mean I'm getting paid until they walk out with their money. So it's usually 30 to 45 days. So we were in a situation where we literally had 2 weeks that we needed $4,000. And we were like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Do the math. And I'm only good at 3% and 6%. But I do know, though, that math doesn't add. How are you going to get in 4 weeks what you need in 2? And so I remember literally in my bathroom on my knees going, God, I can't do this. I'm doing the best I can. I'm calling everyone I know. I'm praying. I don't know what to do. But I know that you can help us. And I don't know what else to do. The next day, I got a phone call. And it was a client of mine, and he said, hey, my sister is wanting to buy a house. It's going to be a weekend house. And so, I'm excited because it's, a person. But I'm thinking weekend house for game days is probably not going to, be that much. And and all this stuff, but hey, money's money, and I knew it wouldn't close in time, so I was like, well, we're still going to be behind and probably not be able to pay our mortgage, but, it'll be fine. So I go and I talk to them, and they start talking about the house they want to get, and it's a lot more expensive than what I thought, and I was like, okay, this is cool. So we go to write the offer and everything, and so we were talking about financing because they talked about a loan and everything, and then all of a sudden they up and said, well, we've decided actually we're just going to pay cash for the house. Now, the thing that's cool
That's
about
what
that.
we did with our weekend home, too.
Absolutely.
We
yeah,
just decided
me too.
to pay cash. Yeah.
Absolutely. Why not? Just pull it out of your pocket. But so I was like, okay. And they're like, and we'd really like to close as soon as we can. And I was like, okay. They said, how fast can you close on a cash deal? And I said, 10 days to 2 weeks. Wow. And they're like, let's do it. So when we closed on that house, literally 2 weeks later, and the amount of commission after my broker got their cut and all that stuff that happens in real estate, I got $4,200 the day I needed it. And so I immediately was like, hey, I've got this extra $200. And I immediately was like, that's going right back to the church. Because I prayed and God provided, and I don't need to keep that extra $200. And so since that day, 10 years ago, every time I have a sale, I always tithe every week, even if I don't get a paycheck. But every sale, I do another $200, just as kind of my tribute to, God giving me exactly what I needed and a little more. So I gave back to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're coming up at the end, but a couple of questions I really want to make sure we cover. One is, from my perspective looking in, and we kind of joked about it earlier, but you do it all, right? You are here all the time. If we paid you for as much as you were up the church, it would be a full-time job, right? Then you real estate, you are a wife, you are a mother, you do it all. We talk a lot about this phrase of like work-life balance, trying to balance your career with the things that really matter. What are maybe some ways that you figured out, aside from not sleeping very much? What are some of your ways of balancing work and life and family and spirit and all that?
It takes a lot. It takes a village. First off, my family is very supportive of me. We've always kind of come up with family goals together of things that we want to do, and I've always made a promise to them that, kids, I'm not going to ever miss one of your practices, one of your, whatever it is, soccer games or track meets or anything like that. There are going to be some times when I'm going to come home and we're going to eat dinner and then I'm going to leave again. Or on a Saturday, I may go to your soccer game and then go show houses and then come back to your second soccer game, but I'm not going to miss your stuff. And so we make those goals together, and they're pretty funny because sometimes they're like, how far away are we from our goal? Get out, And so that's one, is having a hugely supportive family. Number two is all those people in orange. Yeah. My turtles are literally my gas tank that fills me up every single Wednesday. I don't miss it. Literally, I think maybe 2 times in 5 or 6 years I've missed. They literally lift me up and help me to keep going when I'm tired and when that gas tank is empty, and so it's pretty awesome. I have my workout accountability partner over there, Miss Kathy Massey, who I'm with every morning at 5 a.m., yes. The only reason I get out of bed is that woman, because I know she's coming. But it's having that group of people behind you that support you, my extended family, my sisters and my parents and my in-laws and all that, and all my kids that I teach Sunday school to. Yeah. They literally lift me up.
Well, I love that, because I was kind of expecting an answer, when I think about work-life balance, I think, oh, well, I've got to schedule everything and I've got to prioritize my to-do list. But you didn't say anything other.
Those are the priorities first.
Right. It's all the people,
mm-hmm.
right? It's that it's a family, it's the community, that if you really want that balance, the priority has to be the people. Yeah. I love that.
And people ask, they'll say, how do you do all the things? How are you on PTO? How do you teach 3 Bible studies and all that? And I'm like, that's my priority. And so, just like with the fishes and loaves, right? Mm-hmm. Because I spend all my time with all these people that I love, they bless me back by sending me all my business by referral. And 100% of my business is by referral. So I don't buy leads or anything like that. They come to me from the people that I love, and they love me back.
That's awesome. All right, last question. For someone who is here tonight, and I know we have a few that are wrestling with their calling. Maybe they're about to start a career, wondering what is God calling them to do. Maybe they're in a career, wondering, is this really what I'm meant to do? Maybe they're looking for a new career. Looking back on your life and the journey that God has taken you on, what would be some advice that you would give to them?
Right. So I love this statement. I have it actually in my office, and it says, do what you love and you'll never work a day again in your life. And that's true. If you find what your passion is, and who cares about how much money it makes? I know you need to pay the bills, but if you really love it and you're passionate about it, you will make the money that you need. because it won't look like work to you. It will look like your ministry. And so find what you love and go out and get it and do it and work hard. And you can do it. But put God first, because if you do, he'll take care of you.
I want to be like Farrah Spears when I grow up. I don't know about you, but would you join me in thanking Farrah? Farrah, thank you. I want to kind of put a pin on this. What I love about Farrah is that she is fundamentally, to her core, just a people person. That she prioritizes people, even in those difficult seasons in all time. She's going to put people above all else. Last week, I challenged you to do what Farrah just said, that if you're wrestling with your career and your calling, to put your passion ahead of the product. That before anything, find what God has made you and created you to do, and do that, and then all the other stuff will follow. Tonight, what I want to challenge you to do is to put the people ahead of the product. So if you've got your copy of your scriptures with you, Matthew 25, I'm going to read some passages here. So in Matthew 25, what Jesus is explaining is talking about the end times, which is kind of scary. But really, they come and they ask him, Jesus, how do I know if I'm living for you? What are the marks of somebody who is sold out for Jesus? And he says this in verse, we'll read 24 on. Now we'll start at 31. When the Son of Man comes in glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. And before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate people one from another as a shepherd separates sheep from goats. And he will place the sheep on his right, but the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, and they'll say, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you? When did we see you thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I say to you, as you did it to the least of these my brothers, you did it to me." So what Jesus says is, if you want to know whether your life is marked by my way and marked by my teachings, you're going to serve those people around you. It's not just going to be to earn a paycheck, but it's because you see in them that they are my children, that they are made in the image of God. So I want to challenge each and every one of you to do that maybe, I know that there are folks here that you may feel like you are in a dead-end job. That maybe you've done this thing for so long that your retirement and your salary and your packages and your benefits are too good that you can't leave. And you just wonder, how on earth am I going to ride this out to the end? Or maybe you just have a very specific skill set and you're like, you've lost that passion that you once had. I want to challenge you that if you're there, remember that it's first about people. Start blessing people. Start serving people, all people. That means your annoying boss who's too hard on you, who doesn't get everything. That means your annoying coworker in the cube next to you that blares Korean pop. That means the people, those employees under you that for some reason cannot show up on time. Love and serve those people. If you're a boss and you go to one of your employees and you ask a simple question, "Hey, how can I serve you today? How can I love you today?" What's going to happen is you're going to see the atmosphere of not only your office, but your heart as well begin to shift and begin to change. Farrah is all about people. The sales come, but she's going to prioritize people to say, how can I serve you in your time of transition, your time of need? And that's where the blessings come. I don't think she's here tonight. Marge, is Marge here tonight? We'll call her out. Marge, who's usually greeting at the front. Marge is 21 years old, been a member of our community for about 6 months. She is incredible. So she works as an administrative assistant at a big office, 139 employees. And she decided on day one that she was going to learn the name of all 139 employees. And she did it. And then she started changing the culture of where she worked. At the bottom of the totem pole, she began asking the questions, "Hey, how are you doing?" Not just to get that trite kind of fine, "How are you?" but really, how are you doing? She started throwing parties. She created an event on Wednesday nights that's called It's called Wine Wednesday, but we're in church, so fermented Welch's grape juice Wednesday. But they just get together and they hang out and they get to know one another outside of work. And what's happened is that culture has begun to shift. That she went up to a coworker and she just said, that, "How can I serve you?" And he looked at her and he said, "Why? Are you trying to advance? Is this a political game? What's going on?" And Marcia said, "No, I believe that Jesus loves you and Jesus loves me and he calls us to love you. So that's what I'm going to do." I wonder what it would look like in your place of work, in your school, in your business, wherever it is, if you began to really shift and to see your job just as not a job, but as a way that God is using you to bless others. Maybe you don't need a change in vocation. Maybe you just need a change in vision. To say, "God, how can you empower me and help me to serve the people that you have put in my path?" Because you know that when you serve those people, you're serving him as well. Let me pray for us.